Welcome, Deniese Borel.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning. When I was 7 years old, I gave my first speech. I kid you not. I was in Sunday school one morning, and the Sunday school teacher says, "Who here would like to be the guest speaker next Sunday?" Well, I didn't know what a guest speaker was. I was 7 years old, for Pete's sake. I was also the only one that raised my hand, and I got elected by default. So I raced home and I told my mother, "Mom, I get to be the guest speaker." And what is a guest speaker? She says, "Well, you have to stand up in front of people and tell a story." Okay, what am I going to do? So for a solid week, my mother read me a story over and over and over, and I learned it. I learned every bit of that story. And the next Sunday morning, I got up in my Sunday school class, and I told my story, and I was the guest speaker at 7 years old. Later, the Sunday school teacher told my mom she was born to talk. I didn't know if that meant I talked too much or I was really good. But when I was 9, I went to summer camp, and I discovered something magical. I met this girl. She was about 20, and she was there to entertain the 9, 10, and 11-year-olds, and she told stories. And she was awesome. She had to be to keep 300 9, 10, and 11-year-olds enthralled. But I can tell you to this day, the very first story she told us. I can remember her expressions, the way she moved, what she wore. I still remember Jeanette and her stories. And I remember that at the age of 9, I decided that's what I want to do. Now, over the course of the years, things got in the way, and I did not pursue that dream except on an off and on basis. And over the course of the years, I have spoken and sung at conferences and retreats. And so I have a little bit of experience, but not a lot in this arena. And today my goal is to hopefully share a few perceptions with you from the other side of the speaking. Not as a speaker, but as sitting in the audience and as hiring a speaker. Over the past 6 years, as Joe said, I've been the director of the administrative forum at Texas Children's. And in that role, I have become the person that has to hire speakers for our major events. Lesson number 1, finding a good speaker is hard, especially when you don't know what you're doing. But you know what? Being the speaker is even harder. There's a lot of work involved in being a speaker that I was not aware of until I went through Protrack. First year, I am looking through websites. Have you ever Googled speakers, Houston, Texas? Well, let me tell you what you get. Lots of speaker bureaus and lots of audiovisual companies, all mixed together. And you have no, especially when you don't even know what you're looking for, there's just no way to know what to do. So I finally gave up, and I called the director of volunteer services at Texas Children and said, "Help, I need a speaker for this event. Do we have any parents within our system that would come and talk to our admins about what's happened to them with their children?" She sent us this woman who was absolutely wonderful. She stood before 350 admins, and she told us a story about her son who had a heart defect, and how that the process that they had gone through, finding the defect, how the doctors and nurses had helped them. And then she tied it in to how we as administrative professionals had made a difference in her son's life, even though we were not on the front lines. Let me tell you something. You could literally hear the audible sniffles in the room. I promise you, there probably wasn't a dry eye in the house. And I knew right then what I was looking for in a speaker. I wanted them to be the kind of person that connected with their audience. I wanted them to be the kind of people that would come in and regardless of what they were doing, whether they were teaching something or just giving a motivational speech, they connected with the audience. And when the audience left, they left inspired to be more and do more. Key point number 2. No matter how much you plan, stuff happens. I promise you, stuff happens. 2004, had another event, needed somebody to come in. And my boss, she recommended somebody. And I was so excited because it was somebody within the Houston arena that was well known, very well thought of, kind of a Houston celebrity. And I thought, man, this is great. She's going to come in, she's going to inspire, it's going to be exciting. I'm going to look wonderful because I brought this person in, and it's going to be fabulous. First clue we had a problem was 10 minutes before she was supposed to speak. We got a phone call. I broke a tooth. Actually, she didn't call, her driver called. She broke a tooth. We had to rush her to the dentist. She said, stall, she's coming, she'll be there in 30 minutes. So my boss, who was very courageous, got up and shared some stories with us while we waited. Sure enough, 30 minutes later, she comes in, and the next clue that we had a problem was that she was going to give that speech by God come hell or high water. And the next clue we had a problem was when she opened her mouth. They had given her so much pain medication, she was high as a kite. But she wanted to give that speech. I can't even begin to tell y'all the more she talked, the funnier it got. By the time we were done, everybody was literally on the floor screaming with laughter because she told us stuff that, so help me God, when she came to and realized what she said, she probably wanted to go hide under the bed. But the thing about it is we had gotten the best laugh out of that over the years, which comes to key number 3. It really is about people. It's not about how much we know or how much we think we know or how much we want to shine. It really is about the people that we are talking to. And if we can never lose that, then I think we have the opportunity to be absolutely fabulous speakers because we care about the audience that we're addressing. I'm going to give you a case in point here. If you have not already heard the story of Susan Boyle, then honey, you must really and truly live under a rock. But here's this little lady who at first glance, everybody dismissed. And they laughed at her. And they literally laughed at her from a television screen. We could all see it. But the minute she opened her mouth, the most beautiful notes, the most beautiful sounds came out of this woman that most people would have never given a second thought. In your audience as you speak are all different kinds of people. They come in all different shapes, all different sizes, all different belief systems. The key denominator for them being there is that they want to be better. They want to be more. They want to feel like they matter. So as a newly becoming speaker and as somebody that hires speaker, may I please offer you this advice. Never, ever dismiss any of your audience because the very person that you dismiss may be the person that in conversation with you would give you your $1 million idea or know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody who could become your biggest client. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Deniese Borel, and I am a speaker.